Alright, Season 9, Episode 10, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, going to seed. You know, they say the seedling will give you, like, perpetual harvest. I think the seedling already visited Sweet Apple Acres, because other than winter, they have been in complete perpetual harvest basically every time
That's
they
because
show.
Big Mac is the seedling. Duh.
And all they had to do was catch their own brother.
Yeah.
Which they did on
Mm-hmm.
numerous occasions. But yeah, it's like every time the thing with an orchard is, yes, there's maintenance, but I guess they're like, well, maintenance isn't very, checking the trees for parasites and weeding and doing all that and making sure everything's good. The trees are properly, fertilized and everything is good. You know, it's, you know, that wouldn't be as interesting as whenever they're showing them working at Sweet Apple Acres. It's almost exclusively harvesting apples. Which, I mean, I'm not, I'm not an orchard keeper, but I'm wondering, wouldn't apples all come around the same time anyway? Because I mean,
Yeah.
there's certain seasons for apples. So I mean, yes, for the fall, absolutely they'd be harvesting like crazy, because I think that's when you harvest apples. So you know what is are we ever only shown fall in the series? It's like, yeah, oh yeah,
That's when all the fun stuff happens.
I suppose you got that is the you do have Nightmare Night, so
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and but yeah, it does seem like with the way they snapshot this thing, it does seem like it already is in perpetual harvest. Um, so all the trees are all coming due for bucking at once. The confluence. Yes. Um,
Sounds like a
sounds
horror movie name.
what?
Sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like the newest the newest movie from M Night Shyamalan. Um, but yeah, and Big Mac is utterly exhausted from planning out the thing, which, given AJ's occasional tendency to take control and micromanage, I'm surprised she didn't grab the reins.
Yeah.
G- given the Apple family reunion and everything else, it's like,
Yeah, I was wondering, why didn't she? She's the kind of pony who I thought she was the head of the household,
well,
honestly.
she's the most energetic of the household in terms of, wanting to get work done. Like, they all put in, but she's like, I gotta get everything done. There's there's two ponies that would make sense for being in charge of scheduling and that sort of thing. Granny Smith, eldest, knows what's going on. She has the spare time because she's just looking after Apple Bloom probably for the most part when she's home and she's cooking. But she's, though in this case, Applejack was doing all the cooking and looked like she'd been drinking about 16 cups of coffee that morning. Okay, AJ, how many cups of coffee did you have this morning?
Only 12?
Times two.
And admittedly, she's probably excited for harvest season anyway. She likes having that stuff done.
Only Applejack could be excited for work. That's why she's Dex's pony.
No, that's why she's half mule.
Only part mule. Which doesn't even make sense, as mules are sterile, so nothing is part mule.
Maybe Granny Smith was just low-key calling her a jackass.
Stubborn as a mule boy.
Which, I mean, that is one of her few sort of flaws. Like, they have, all of the main six have flaws of some description. AJ doesn't have a lot of them. Like, hers is basically stubbornness. That's basically it. And so it does get kind of tiresome trying to come up with things that are her problem. It's like, they either have to completely take her out of character, like Applejack's Day Off, where it's like, in some cases she was doing some really weird things with her for that episode, or they have to make her stubborn, which it's like, so, I mean, yes, I understand you're not going to give over a personality trait like that in just like one episode. I mean, that's silly, but it's like, it makes it harder to write for.
And that kind of personality trait is kind of ingrained into you. Like, Fluttershy, you can gain confidence a lot easier than you can not be obsessive compulsive. And her stubbornness is basically an obsessive compulsive trait. Kind of like Twilight still has her manic points.
Twilighting.
Applejack, Twilight. Yeah, didn't I say Twilight?
You said Twilight, but I said Twilighting.
Yeah.
You verbed me?
Yeah. She has her manic obsessive compulsive traits. Applejack has her manic obsessive compulsive work ethic. And that is just part of who she is.
Mm.
And that's not going to be just deleted.
Yeah, you can't really, you can be aware of it, but you can't get rid of it.
Exactly.
And just like, wait, sanity check, am I being stubborn? If I am, you'll have you always have your natural instincts, but the only way you can sort of do it is go, all right, self-check, am I being stubborn about this? That's the only way you can kind of get over it, is just do self-checks every once in a while. Am I being stubborn about this?
Yeah, because that's not going to change. That's just, you're going to...
That's your natural reaction.
Yeah, you're going to have to force yourself to, okay, no, that's, take a step back. That's not right. I need to do this instead.
Yeah. Granny apparently got a hold of Goldie Delicious to help, so Peter New was talking to Peter. He didn't really talk much to Peter New. Like, Peter New talking to Peter New was a thing. I'm not sure they have lines together. As odd as it sounds, I'm not sure. I mean, but Big Mac doesn't talk much anyway, so it's just yep, nope, and that's basically it. You could run Big Mac's entire character off of Peter New's soundboard. Yep, nope, yep, nope, yep.
Yep. No.
At least for this episode.
For some reason, I feel that Big Mac should dress up as Groot. Both are creatures of few words.
I'm sure that
I am not going to draw this. I am not going to draw.
How was Gar Binks?
Yeah, I have not drawn that one yet. I was too busy drawing Thorlax. Because how can you not?
But
It
yeah,
just
I'm sure
fits so
there's
perfectly.
there's sort of an Avengers sort of thing that with Big Mac. Well, they probably in that case they probably just well, it depends on how they did it. Like either sort of a like Groot is good for a Big Mac, but you could also if you weren't trying to make it main six centric, you could also do like Thor with him. It's like I am freaking massive.
Yeah, but really, I think probably more of a since none of the other characters really embody that character, Hulk, because he is big, he is strong, and he is a lot smarter than people see him. Because most people, when they think Hulk, they think Hulk smash, but they forget that there's that Bruce Banner underneath.
Yeah. Well, and Sugar Bell is is Black Widow.
Yeah.
And Discord
Sun's
would
going
definitely
down,
be,
Big Mac.
Discord would be Loki.
Discord would be Loki. He wouldn't even
now I've just got
be Loki.
now I've just got Big Mac slinging around Discord back and forth. Puny God.
Yes. Puny Draconicus.
And just absolutely brutal and just Discord going, what? Huh? What? We're still on for
And then
D&D,
he's
aren't
like,
we?
I
Or,
think
oh
I'll
no.
have that drink now.
But we're still on for O and O, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right.
Would that make Spike? Who would be Thor then? Because
Dash
yeah, I mean she does have the thunder.
and AJ is
Rainbow Dash is Discord's sister, adopted.
Well, he's adopted.
He's adopted.
And well, usually the way Twilight is
Twilight would be
Iron
Captain
Man.
America.
No, Iron Man. Twilight is an Iron Man. Yep.
Yeah, but she's also
AJ's Captain America.
True.
AJ's Captain America. Twilight's Iron Man.
True. Twilight's more intellectual.
Yeah. And and AJ's got more of the Paragon sort of. I want to punch him in his perfect little teeth.
No, I would have to say
Fluttershy would be Wait, no, that's
no. I gotta say Rarity would be Iron Man. She has the knowledge to make the suit.
Yeah, we're running out of ponies there. In reality, instead, if we were doing main eccentric, then Rarity would be more Black Widow, I would think.
No, I think Rarity would be more of a Hawkeye. Because she's better at a distance. And honey, I never miss. At least not with fashion.
Made you look. But yeah, there's a few that it's like, okay, it's relatively easy to say who would be what. Like AJ as Captain America, yeah, that just makes sense. Dash as Thor, yeah, obviously. You could argue Iron Man between Twilight and Rarity, but Twilight being basically leader of the group, and Iron Man having, I mean, between it's him
And
and
it is
Cap.
her castle, just like the
Yeah,
Avenger Tower
yeah,
is Tony's tower.
yeah.
So
And it's basically, yeah, and then you have sort of that, but then you start getting into Fluttershy, and if we're just going to go, main six centric, we've already had her as basically the Hulk. So
yeah.
it's like really sweet and kind, but don't make her mad. And she really doesn't like being angry. But when she is angry, it's going to be unpleasant. um, but that kind of covers most of the core Avengers, um, I think, and the six. So got the Pegasi, Pinkie Pie. What the heck do you do with Pinkie Pie?
Spider-Man, duh.
Okay, Spider-Man.
No. Ant-Man. Sorry, I forgot about Ant-Man.
No.
Excitable and defies the laws of physics in different ways, but
Yeah, I don't know. Because at that point you've already run out of the main Avengers, so you have to start going outside because
Ant-Man is an Avenger now. He
yeah,
was
I
in
know, but I'm
Civil
saying like
War.
there's the core Avengers, like you
The,
have Thor
the
and like
originals.
the original core members, and then you have all the
There were
ones
only
that
like
they've
5 of those.
yeah. So we've already run out the five. So
And
Black Widow.
and
Well,
Spike would be Rhodey. Spike would be Rhodey. War Machine.
yeah.
Because he is Tony Stark's sidekick.
Yes. Oh, well, you got um. Okay, so you got Cap, easy enough. Iron Man, uh, Black Widow, Hulk, and Thor. Uh, and I think that covers everybody. And if we're doing this, then rarity is if we're we got uh, Hawkeye and Black Widow. So there's
Yeah.
six. There's six of them because
Mm-hmm.
you got the main two, Iron Man, Captain America. You got Hulk.
And you forgot Wanda. Scarlet
Well, I
Witch.
mean the original ones because you got Cap, Iron, Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. So you actually have six. So you have 6 and 6. So I don't know. Anyway, we've gone way off going to seed here.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, the episode was pretty predictable, so even Jack knew it was Big Mac. Like in the first 5 minutes.
Well, when you make him utterly exhausted every time, it's like that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, my first thought was that Sugar Bell was in town.
Well, there was two ways this was going down. Like from like when in the initial thing when you see the first little apple crop circle, literal like crop circle, squigglies and all that stuff. I was like, okay, it's one of you three.
Mm-hmm.
Goldie would do it because she's messing with Apple Bloom. Uh, Granny
And
might
that
help her out.
side-eye giggle.
Yeah, that side eye giggle. Granny might help her. I don't know that she would do it on her own, but she might help Goldie. Uh, and then Big Mac is exhausted over there, and I was thinking he was trying to do something nice for Apple Bloom. It's a bit like doing an Easter egg hunt for the kids, and that was part of what he was doing. Was that sort of idea? It's like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do something so Apple Bloom can have something fun. Because he was all that one episode where he was Sister of Social, where he was always really worried about his relationship with Apple Bloom and
He just
being there
wants to
for
be the
her.
best big brother he can be.
Yeah, he cares about her, and he wants to make sure that she doesn't you know leave him behind and just, not need him anymore. So this was some extension of that. So there's, that was the initial thought. This was purposeful, and somebody was up to it, like Goldie or Big Mac, maybe Granny helping Goldie, but or it's one of those things where they were all trying to help and like they all were working independently. One of those sorts of episodes where it's like, oh yeah, we're all working. They all tried to help, but they ended up doing way too much. Like not realizing they did way too much. But yeah, at this point, and one thing that's kind of interesting in the first little bit, gets this little bit of conversation is like, the Great Seedling? Well, now, I hadn't thought about that old mare's tail for years. Old mare's tails have been real before in this universe. I mean...
we have Discord, a creature of chaos, so I think a seedling could exist.
Yeah, and what they were, Nightmare Moon returning was also an old mare's tail, I think.
And why is it always old mare's tail? Why no old stallion tails?
The stallion takes too long to say.
Stallions don't live that long because they question the old mares. Also, is it me or did the seedling kind of look like one of those
Thorax?
creatures? No, well, yes, but I was thinking more the ones who burst into flame when they get pissed.
Oh, the Kieran?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't think about it. All I saw was Thorax. And that would have been really
that would have been a plot twist right there.
That would have been really funny if it was, Thorax was trying to, he was taking a walk in the Sweet Apple Acres. He was looking to talk to Applejack for some emergency reason or something, and he got lost. And he got lost, which having wings he shouldn't, but he did get lost, and he keeps running into traps, and they catch him. It's like, oh, it's a seedling! No, wait, that's King Thorax.
I just really like apples, okay?
I came here to, all I came up here was to ask about agriculture, and I get caught in a trap. Why are there traps all over all over the Sweet Apple Acres? You know
Let's cook them.
You know how long it took me to get to the barn? By the time I got to the barn, it was night. That would have been a funny wid. But yeah, the Goldie Delicious, the Great Seedling ain't no mare's tail. He's a magical earth spirit. All the colors of the harvest that travels from farm to farm, daring ponies to catch him. And those that have the ingenuity are rewarded with crops that are always in bloom. Which I find interesting that later on they actually asked, well, do you know anybody that has caught them? Because they would be really famous trees. Yeah. It's like, all these trees on this particular farm are always in bloom. I would think that would be a really, that would be a weird thing, and you would know about that, especially if you were a farmer. You'd be like, oh yeah, it's actually real because such and such farm is always always fruiting. So,
Maybe it was the pear family. They had to go all the way to Vancouver to find them.
Anyway, Goldie sets off Bloom's desire to catch a seedling, though she hasn't been interested in years. And we get a little bucking contest that's kind of interesting. It's like Big Mac just freaking bends a tree over and it's like and then does the whole ha-ha, and then Applejack, goes kung fu on the thing and does like a triple kick. It's like, it's like, okay, I suppose after a while when you've been just kicking trees all these years, you get bored and you start coming up with tricks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to do something to keep you entertained. That's why they created the seedling in the first place.
Yeah, probably initially probably to keep little fillies and colts busy. You go, you go hunt the seedling while we harvest. You know, the ones that are too young to actually help any, and we just end up getting under hoof. You just, it's like, okay, yeah, okay, we're gonna harvest. You are gonna go, try and catch the seedling, and they, make traps and that sort of thing, and it keeps them busy and out of everybody's main until until they're done harvesting. Um, but yeah, at this point, Big Mac is completely wiped out from redoing a bucking schedule. Doesn't even really make sense given that it seems they were regions outlined by marks, but every pony was harvesting within eyeshot of one another.
Yeah,
But
not only that, but the fact that he didn't really do much changing except adding his color to more of the map,
yeah,
which shouldn't take that long.
yeah, that should be like, oh, okay, well, I need to do this. And yeah, it's not, and that's not even how they were harvesting, anyways. Like, they were all standing around in the same place harvesting. It's like, you weren't doing it by region anyway. You were doing it just like as a group, like you were lining up the trees, kicking them, getting the apples down, putting them on the cart. It's like, and it's actually probably a heck of a lot more efficient.
I wonder
Yeah.
if there's like an official count of how many apple trees they have.
A lot. You got more trees than any pony in Ponyville, according to Burn Oak. But the answer seems to be a lot.
I think it's a fuck ton and a half, if I remember correctly.
Ah,
I doubt that's how they referred to it.
oh, you mean a buck ton?
Yeah, a buck ton and a half. That's what I said. Totally what I said.
Aw. Aw.
I
Ah,
said buck ton, yeah.
sure. Anyway, so they let's see, you get the crop circles or squiggles. AJ immediately suspects Goldie is getting Applebloom all wound up, especially as she's having a hearty laugh situation. Was the one who brought it up. Uh, we get this conversation. You know what I mean. We got enough work to do without you distracting Appleblossom by making some apple tracks and pretending the great seedling did it. Goldilicious, I did no such thing. Grace with what in the tater tarnation would make you say a thing like that? Applejack, well, some pony did it, and sure seems to be enjoying this quite a lot. Goldie, I'm enjoying it because Applebloom's enjoying it. Applejack, and I suppose you two didn't do it either. Big Mac, nope. Which is actually turns out to be a lie, but he doesn't know it's a lie, so it's a lie.
Well, okay. To be fair, we know that he was the one stealing the apples, but we don't exactly know he was the one making the trail because remember the carrots at the end.
Well,
Well,
no, we know that he made the trail of apples because we saw the trail behind him. But the carrots were not him.
or at least not that he's admitting to it.
Or that he's aware of.
Yeah, he's aware of or admitting to. It could be Goldie's like one last little. Okay, you come off this, you don't think the seedling's real? All right. I'll do one last little thing, and she plucked a few carrots and threw them out there like a squiggles just to go. Ha 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 ha.
Although, I mean, we are putting technical commentary to a cartoon that has flying horses and magic. So, I mean, for all we know, it could have been the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Which, yes, that is what I think of this episode.
Anyway,
This is the Great Pumpkin episode.
well, anyway. But yeah, AJ's being pretty reasonable and practical about what happened. It's like, we could either believe the Great Seedling is real, even though nobody's ever heard of it actually happening, or Goldie's messing with Apple Bloom, which seems entirely more accurate. I mean, it's a practical explanation. It makes sense. You know Goldie exists, so... And you know she likes getting Apple Bloom wound up about this thing, so it's not crazy to suggest that maybe she did it. You don't have the evidence yet, but that's a possible line of investigation to take on. But, yeah, she's being very, she's trying to provide alternate explanations for the Apple tracks, and is actually trying to instill some critical thinking and skepticism into Apple Bloom. It's like, look, this is
She's
what it
putting
could have
on
been.
her Scully cap.
Her what?
Scully cap.
Skelly?
You know, Mulder and Scully.
Oh, Scully cap. Okay. It kept getting a weird distortion around the time you said Scully, and so it was like, and it was just like, it was perfectly timed. Like, it was like every time you said Scully, and this little distortion. It's like,
maybe
the truth is out there.
The truth is out there, and that's why the conspirators are blocking me, so I can't say Scully.
Well, there's another.
Except now they've said it. Now that you've said it, it's like, now
They're
they're
like,
trying to let
"Damn
you
it."
know that we know. You know now. You know that we know that you know.
You know.
Watch yourself.
Well,
Yeah.
I know that you know that they know that I know. You know?
I know. Let's not go too far down that track. But yeah, Applejack got stuck in one of her trap holes as a filly and felt guilty about making everyone else work harder. It has there's a, at this point in the episode, it's got the undercurrent of one of those religious movies, and the sort of straw man atheist out there. It's like this feels, at this point in the show, because I'm writing it in chronological as I'm watching it, which I managed to find some place to watch it. So, other than after the fact, but it's got a little bit of that, and it's like, you don't believe in the Great Seedling Hills because you fell in that hole. That's why. And it's like, okay. Luckily, Apple Bloom's trap hole doesn't hurt Winona when she falls down it chasing Goldie's cats.
That's because Apple Bloom isn't as what's the term for being obsessively workaholic? Because that's
called Applejack.
Yeah, I think so. She isn't quite as Applejack as Applejack was. So
Wait,
her
you turned me
hole is
into a
12 feet deep.
Yeah, it was a pretty deep hole she fell into, and it was her own hole. And so she was like, yeah, the fact that she couldn't climb out of her own hole, which doesn't make a lot of sense given,
She might have dug it with a ladder and then taken the ladder out.
At least it wasn't the hole with spikes in it.
True. Although that is Webby's favorite trap, the spike trap. The spike trap pit.
Which, given Earth Pony strength, even a filly, I would think, would be able to dig her way out of it. Just like, dig on the wall, build up the floor. Dig on the wall, build the floor. Dig up the wall, and undig her hole.
Yeah, but she wasn't that right. I mean, it is Applejack.
She's not that dumb.
I'm just.
She's
He did
actually
the redneck.
yeah she's more for the most part when they're not handing her the idiot ball. She's her gift to the team is common sense. It's like now this is a little impractical there, Rarity. Maybe we should do something a little more reasonable. No, it must be fabulous. It's like, okay, Rarity. um,
So are you calling her a pain?
Rarity?
No, no, Applejack, because her gift is common sense.
Ah, okay. Uh, okay. Yeah. Now I've just got a picture of Applejack in a powdered wig, and I can't get it out. Ah. I don't know why that's so funny. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. I don't know why.
Okay, who got Dex drunk before this?
I don't
Nadrock, I'm
drink.
pointing at you.
I know what you're talking about.
I don't drink, Suit. I'm not drunk. I'm just very silly.
So much.
I'm
I
not as pink as you drunk I am.
um, let's see. The rope snare is luckily avoided by the elder mares, but gets poor Big Mac.
Well, I mean, he did trip them in his sleep too.
Yeah. And he is exhausted, so it's not that crazy.
Which, I mean, is another point of foreshadowing if you think about it.
Yeah.
They show he's tripping all of them beforehand, and it's like all of the traps were tripped.
Yeah.
And then it shows him tripping all the traps when he's awake.
Yeah. In the middle of the episode, we do see a reasonable balance. I mean, they're having fun setting the traps, but they're also getting the harvest done at the same time. Like, Applejack's humoring her want to catch the thing, wants to catch the seedling. But she's also, while she's setting a trap, Applejack's kicking a tree. And they're sort of kicking the tree and we'll set a little trap here. Doing both at the same time. They're actually balancing sort of the work and play thing. And then we get this interesting little thing, so we see the massive crop squiggles. And Goldilicious, so you're finally ready to admit the great seedling might be real? Applejack, I can't think of anything else that could have laid out these tracks and sprung all our traps. It's the argument from ignorance fallacy, AJ. It's quite slippery. Don't fall on it. But Big Mac discovers some trees that aren't supposed to be bucked yet. And
yeah, that was kind of a confirmation bias right there, where it's like you never said anything about that until it happened. Sounds to me like you're making shit up just to confirm your own sordid theories.
Anyway, so we get this little bit of dialogue. Have you ever heard of any... She asks a very salient question. Applejack, have you ever heard of any pony actually catching him? Goldie, oh, there are stories, but it's hard to say for sure. He's quite a trickster. Guess that's why the reward is so great if you can trap him. And then she goes on to the... it's like just stories. It's like you asked a salient question and now she's falling into, well, those tricks have given me an idea. Setting traps is one thing, but I reckon if we keep watch over the trees that haven't been bucked, the seedling won't know what hit him. So we're getting an actual investigation on this thing. To which Apple Bloom, like, Applejack starts talking about their parents and such, and we get the cute little scene where you got Big Mac taking the yoke on, and you got Apple Bloom riding in Pearbutter's saddlebag, I think.
I thought she was carrying her.
Or I seem to remember she was in something. She was on her back, and she was on Pearbutter's back, and let me see if I can find a picture. But it's a nice sepia toned little showing of, because now they have an official image, we know what they look like. They can actually show them. Um, uh, Instead of, it's like, oh, instead of just alluding to them, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's totally it's totally them, just right there. Um, let's see
Oh,
if I
how cute! And then you realize, oh yeah, they're dead.
yeah.
No, they're just space travelers.
Oh, they're trapped on the moon. They went to visit. They were minions of Luna.
No, they're trapped on Luna's moon. It's like, wait, do I have fleas? My ass itches.
Discord.
No, she's got her in a little basket on her back, and Apple Bloom is just sitting there slobbering on an apple.
Aww, so cute.
Which
Yeah, I don't get that. Why do people go like, oh, so cute, it's slobbering?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about her being in the basket.
Yeah, still not. Oh, so cute. It's slobbering. Get it away from me.
Like, oh my god, do they always drool?
Yes, they're like you.
Hey, I sexily drool.
No, you don't sexily drool. You just drool. Very awkwardly.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right. Anyway, but yeah, it's a nice little scene. You see a few things like it's also, you have Bright Mac handing Big Mac the yoke, like putting it on Big Mac and hitching him up so he can haul the cart. Though it looks like it's fairly early, and he's not quite the pillar of strength that he will become yet. But
he's just Little Mac at this point.
I didn't know he boxed.
I don't get it.
It's a Punch-Out video game reference.
Oh.
Anyway, so they sit up in the blind together until a trap goes off. They get chased by a silhouette that looks like the seedling. After they see it in the light, it's Big Mac harvesting in his sleep. He trips over himself and sets off all the traps near the barn. He falls into a big trap hole. Apple Bloom,
He is a big trap hole.
Apple Bloom, I'm glad we solved the mystery, but I really wanted to catch the great seedling before I get too old to try. Applejack, you know what, Sugar Cube? You're never too old to be a filly. There will always be work to do, but having fun together is something you never grow out of. What's the point of being all grown up if you can't be childish sometimes? I believe that's the Fourth Doctor. There's also a similar quote from I think it's Dahl.
Roald Dahl?
Yeah, I think he's the Winnie the Pooh creator, right?
No.
No, that was somebody else. Anyway, I'm getting my thing.
Roald Dahl was the one who wrote
I know he did Willy Wonka,
stories.
but I couldn't. He do Willy Wonka as well? I don't know. I'm this morning I'm not on.
I think so.
But
it does sound like his type of story.
Yeah. Let me just quickly writing.
And I mean, he was Welsh, so the Doctor could have actually just copied it off of him. And
Yeah, Charlie and the
paraphrase.
Chocolate Factory, Matilda, James and the Giant Peach, The Witches, Fantastic Mr. Fox, The BFG, The Twits, and George's Marvelous Medicine. Uh,
And of course his short stories, which are they make the Twilight Zone seem sane.
let's see. Yeah, it's somebody else. Yeah, now it's gonna drive me crazy until I look up who was Winnie the Pooh. I forget.
Well, the voice of Winnie the Pooh is Jim
A.
Cummings.
Milne. That was who it was. Yeah, A. Milne. But I think this is a doll or somebody else. But this Fourth Doctor quote, and then like somebody else, like, or is it C.S. Lewis?
It sounds more like a C.S. Lewis quote, because that was one of his biggest characteristics, was his embracing of childhood and his desire to remain a child.
Yeah.
Which is why he was friends with so many little girls. At least supposedly. That, or he was just a total pedo.
Well, anyway, that little thing going on. Yeah, I'll run into it eventually and go, oh, okay, that was what it was. Anyway, so there's carrots.
You're just gonna randomly shout it out in the middle of the day, like,
oh yeah, that's
the name of
my
who
dad
it
gets
is, and they're just gonna.
like he'll try and think of the sports figure or something. And it's like, it was this guy. I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue. And then like an hour later, he'll yell it out. It's like, this. Sorry, sports Tourette's. I remember who it was. But you get the carrots that nobody was supposed to be harvesting, inciting another hunt. And that's all the. That's all the notes.
And it ended with one of those really stereotypic 80s/90s freeze frame endings, where they do that leap into action and freeze frame.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I'm stuck up here. I can't get down. Discord.
I would love that to be a random like end scene for something. Just like, damn it, Discord, let me down.
Let's see. My notes about this episode was, it felt like an unneeded filler episode when we had more important stuff.
Yeah, it was really a filler and really, really kind of pointless.
Don't get me wrong, it was still a good episode. It's just I know, with it being the last season.
And it felt kind of almost jarring with how it feels like a season 1 episode, really. Like an early season episode.
Okay, yeah, as C.S. Lewis, when I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up.
Mm.
It was a C.S. Lewis quote. I don't know why that took me so long to recall that, but I remember the Fourth Doctor quote almost verbatim immediately, but
always.
couldn't remember the C.S. Lewis quote.
Because you quote it so often, at least I do.
I don't quote the Fourth Doctor that often. I actually haven't seen much of the Fourth Doctor.
Neither have I, but I still quote it.
Yeah.
That and a random quote from Sarah Jane Adventures. Let me tell you about a conscience. It's like a thorn in your shoe. You don't know what a relief it is until you get rid of it.
Anyway, any further thoughts on the Going to Seed episode?
Nah.
With a title like that and Big Mac So Tired, that did not.
Okay, you know, I was trying to avoid this because this.
Oh,
is
she already went there earlier. Sugar Bell in town.
Family.
I just thought Sugar Bell was in town.
She's gonna be in town more often. I mean, there was that whole episode.
No, she's just in town so they can bake pies, nothing else.
So their name, their new foal is going to be named Apple Pie, right?
Lord.
They're baking a pie.
Oh, this was a good episode. Moving on now.